right, and we're live here with Dankus Memecus. How's it going
Hello?
today, Dankus?
I'm good, are you?
Oh, doing good. It's raining again here in California, so uptown problems.
Yeah. Sunny Sweden. It's unusual.
Okay, so we're opposite today. That's good.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining the podcast here. I appreciate you being on, and yeah, I've looked around. It looks like this is the only HOI4 podcast, so I'm the first adopter here.
I mean, Tommy tried one for a while, but it was like 3 episodes or something.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
I mean, podcast, it's YouTube videos as podcast, but yeah.
Yep, YouTube built out a shelf, so we're here. And what I'd like to know today is your backstory. How did you get started in streaming? Obviously, were you a Twitch streamer first or another platform?
Yeah, Twitch streamer. I mean, actually, YouTube streamer first, but that was back in 2015, and I was like a kid. But yeah, just as YouTube streaming came out, I was like really early to that. I was actually the most watched at some points. Like I played Agario, a web game, which was literally, it was competitive for me. I was number 5 in the world. I shared a YouTube channel with an Indian guy. And we played that web game, and we had a team. We joined another pro. I at least joined another pro Agario team, and I streamed. And basically, I had a sponsor in terms of that they just gave me free in-game stuff, and yeah, I gave out stuff every stream, free giveaways all the time. Didn't cost me anything. Didn't cost the company anything. They probably just made money, and yeah, it was funny. I don't know. I just streamed and then I got banned for copyright music.
They banned you?
Yeah.
Because like my impression was like now they're like, we're just gonna steal all your revenue and just keep striking you.
There's two ways. Either they choose to strike you or they choose to give a claim where they just get all the money. I don't know how it works, really. At least I didn't back then, so I thought they would just take all the money or something. I don't know. I was like, what, fucking 2015? That was 8 years ago. I was 13? Yeah, I was 13. So I didn't really care. So yeah, I really didn't mind. But yeah, it sucked that it was gone and all. But hey, 1,000 viewers while streaming on YouTube in 2015 was kind of cool. I remember we hit that a couple of points, so that was really cool.
Dude, that is nuts. Like 1,000 viewers, you'd have to be like have a contract with YouTube right now. Like their whole live stream setup is like really weird, and then the regions don't work.
It used to be even worse. You couldn't do anything. It was just you stream with OBS to YouTube, and there was just a chat, and that was kind of it. That was kind of it. It didn't become videos after, I believe. At least I don't remember how it was, or it became videos after, and then I got striked. I don't remember.
So how did it go for you on Twitch? Like, were you streaming to like yourself for a while, or how did it evolve?
I started streaming in the summer of, was it 2019 or 2018? It's 2019 summer. So at least I was in my teenage years then. I mean, it's not long ago. I'm talking like it's age. No, 2018. Definitely 2018. No, I'm sorry. It's 2019. It's 2023 now. Yep. Dude, it could have been 2020. I honestly don't remember. But anyhow, I remember one summer there was no streamers at home. Like I know I watched Bo and Tommy, and I was always like in Tommy's games because I played early on in the competitive community. Tommy probably started with the game a year before me, but I still caught on really early. Like probably when I had 1,000 hours, I was already better than Tommy in the terms of that I knew team play. Like in a way that Tommy played in an era where HOI4 was so early, you just did your own thing. But then team play started to evolve, and he was kind of not willing to adapt into team play. Like he had become a streamer where it's more interesting to talk to chat and stuff. And I was like try-harding my ass off as in a team play scenario because it was what it had became. You needed team play to win now Because if the enemy team play had team play, then you were just gonna lose if you didn't have team play. So it was kind of that point where I was like, yeah, Tommy did stream competitively, but it was like a different era of competitiveness.
Yeah.
And people say that meta has gotten more boring. It hasn't really gotten more boring. It's just not people running around doing their own things now. It's just people are doing what they're supposed to do. And if the enemy aren't, then they just lose, Like if you do heavy tanks and your enemy does infantry with artillery, they're just going to lose. But yeah, people didn't want to evolve out of that meta where you could do whatever and it worked. So yeah, most of them quit and stuff, and then I was like, okay, I'm almost the only competitive person playing now. Like in 2019 was really like a drought for competitiveness. People were really not playing that much anymore. I remember there was like 3 active servers total playing HOI4 multiplayer, and roleplay wasn't really a thing back then at all. So it was really a drought. And yeah, I like to go into games, play Russia, and really never people had the team play on the other teams. I just came with my friends. We had team play on our team. We never necessarily try harded. We were more like team playing, right? Like, okay, you do that. You don't have to sit at your PC the entire time. You can even watch a movie, right? And then but just do your thing that we're telling you to do, like the team leaders, and then it's all fine. You can do really whatever after that, just that you do this one thing. And the enemy teams, like I usually played against Tommy, like I said, and then the enemy teams were all random, doing random stuff. They were still doing whatever they want to, and then it looks like we're try-harding. Well, it's really just like, if you coordinate, you don't have to try that hard. If you know what you're gonna do before the game, oh, I'm gonna do this, you do that, and then we don't have to think about it in-game. Well, the enemies are all doing the same thing, and, they don't have any coordination, then they're just going to lose. And I usually played Russia, and Russia is a really strong nation. It used to be even stronger. You could kind of solo carry if your team... Well, you also need coordination for that, because you can't just solo carry. Your team needs to boost you economically, etc., right? So there's more to it than that, but
Well, yeah, my roots are in Dota. So to me, like, I was aware of you in 2018. So I think you probably started at least by the end of 2018. And then there was this kind of like escalation of the meta where it was like, as you said, where if you want to go into a multiplayer game, you're just going to get absolutely wrecked if you're not coordinated. But the same for Dota, you'd have a jungler, you'd have a carry, you'd have a support. And it's like, okay, you're hungry. You're the support basically, right? Or whatever. Like, it just makes sense in a competitive arena to have defined roles and responsibilities like any other competitive sport. So I guess the main escalation of this meta was sometime 2019, you'd say?
Yeah, well, at least when people got more team play. I know people are going to disagree with this, but having played against the OGs, I no disrespect to them. They literally came up with being competitive games, but they usually transferred into mods where it was kind of railroaded to the point where you didn't need team play or coercion. Like, you only had one choice in the mods. Like, okay, Russia does air, and Russia does tanks, and Russia does this, and you didn't really have any choice out of that. They kind of forced you to play decently, in the way that we never wanted to go away from that choice to play decently. Like, some people that came into the competitive community late, they got all this info, like, okay, as this nation, you do this, and eventually they learned, and then they like knew what to do on every nation, but they didn't know why they do everything on every nation, because we all figured out why you should do each thing on every nation. Like, okay, South Africa, you should do tanks. Okay, I know that now, but why should you do tanks, right? Like, stuff like that is kind of... they didn't have to figure it out, so they don't know a lot of the core mechanics or why it's the best, why you don't do Canada tanks anymore, for example, right? Like, stuff like that. It used to be a meta, but we figured out this was slightly better. That's why we do this, for example.
Yeah, I think I came into the meta 2021. The players that taught me had played with you. So it was this information that got passed along, and basically I had to grill them. Because I don't know if this is your experience, but the better players don't want to share their moves sometimes with you. And so for me to get information, I kind of have to press them a bit. Like, how do you prep your team for the games that you play in?
Well, sometimes I like to try hard in a way that I know the enemy team is gonna be good, so I know that I have to prep my team. And a lot of people are lazy. They're like, oh, dude, I don't want to have to prep for this game. You know, like it's not even like a tournament or anything. But I'm like, okay, so you just want to go into it when the enemy team is prepped and you want to lose or what? You know, like I don't know. And I usually don't say my strats out loud because I'm a streamer. I'm already gonna get targeted as a streamer. That's just how it is. And people are like, you don't get targeted. They just played good versus you. They knew you were going to invade there, even though it was silent invading. You didn't. You even broke the rules, but they knew it. Because, yeah, there's intel for that, surely. You know, stuff like that could happen where they just knew stuff that were impossible to know. And I just knew that I had to keep everything a secret. Sometimes I would rather not micro to let my co-ops micro just so the enemies didn't know what we were doing. For example, if you watch a Bokoen video, oh, I'm going to invade Japan now, guys. Okay, that's really cool. If I'm gonna invade Japan, I can't fucking announce that. I would rather let my co-op do the invasion, not show anything on stream, and then they're caught off guard at least.
I saw you got countered by China. You're paradropping into China the other day. Maybe that was with a bunch of other streamers, but they were prepared for you.
Yeah, that was actually AI. So in the mod, it spawns in like 100 divisions every 6 months-ish. And I managed to paradrop during those times, all 3 of them, which meant that they had divisions behind the front line, which they normally don't. So that was unlucky. That was just unlucky, but it felt super crazy to me how I managed to time the 3 times that they get spawn-ins.
Dude, that's crazy. Well, that explains like, so your videos are, I love them. Like I watch all your live stream cuts. But it's not a tutorial video. It's what happened in the live stream, which is the way it should be. Are you going to do any more multiplayer tutorial content like you did with the famous Russia guide that everyone, like I was gleaning a lot of information from that early on in like 2021?
Yeah, I mean, the Russia tutorial was kind of like, I played Russia and I won every game for like a year and a half straight, right? Like nobody could beat me. And I was like, I don't even have to prep for this tutorial because I know everything. I can just talk out of my brain, you know? And I like to do stuff like that. I usually don't want to prep for any games. Like preferably, I just wing it and I use my game knowledge to win. Like preferably. In tournaments and such, I always prep though. But like for the average game you'll see on stream or a video, I just got home, I put on the PC and I started up the game. That's kind of how it is usually. What was the question? I think I got out of it.
I forget
more
now.
Tutorials. More tutorials.
Yeah, what's the future content that we're doing here that you're going to do? Yeah,
so the problem with tutorials is that, for example, I did a grinding tutorial, so I get good traits, which gives you better combat stats. But those 2 tutorials, for example, were really easy to make because I knew exactly what I was talking about. There's no prep that needed to be done. It was just talking out of my brain. Maybe not everything is on point because I'm literally just talking out of my brain. There's no prep really. So the problem now is that vanilla tutorials are kind of hard to make. So Paradox is remaking the game a lot. Like a lot. If I make a Russia tutorial now, and let's say, I don't know when the release date for the DLC is, but let's say it's in September. Everything I talk about could be outdated. You know? Like, people need to understand that every year, I would need to remake every tutorial for everything if I want to stay updated. And already, I spend so much time trying to get out content, which it's like, I know tutorials are content, but it's more like, I know that this content, for example, if I make a video where I'm playing Russia and I beat a guy, that'll be content in 1 year. I don't know that a tutorial that I make will be content in 1 year. So it just feels like it's that constant nagging about like, okay, are they going to remake this? You know, like I was going to make another Russia tutorial, an updated one. Then they released By Blood Alone, completely changed the map. I mean, nothing was the same. So it's kind of like, okay, so when is the next DLC? Is it in a year? Is it less? Because sometimes they release a patch even that completely changes the meta. They could even release, oh, hello guys, this Tuesday we're changing planes. Like, okay, so I spent like 8 hours of just recording and prepping for what, like in 3 months it's gone maybe. So that's kind of why I don't post a lot of tutorials. Stuff like production and stuff I've already made tutorials on. That's stuff that has been the same and has stayed the same, like the core mechanics of it. And mechanically wise, I can explain stuff. I always explain stuff on stream. Like, how does Navy work? Okay, so you have heavy attack and torpedoes. They attack capital ships. Light attack and heavy attack can also attack screening ships, right? Like, okay, well, I'm kind of explaining it poorly, but I know mechanics of stuff. It's really hard for me to explain everything because there's always a but.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Navy, I would say probably is the hardest to know because there's so many factors. Like, oh, your ship says in the designer that it has 500 HP while mine has 250. Guess what? Mine has more efficient HP. What the fuck is efficient HP? Yeah, well, it calculates your actual HP. The HP in the designer is a fucking lie. That's one thing that's really funny because it doesn't even mean that you have 500 HP. Another ship could have more HP and yours could have less because of the speed, visibility, all that bullshit. So you gotta calculate it in spreadsheets and stuff, and I just don't feel like it makes for a good video. It can make for an interesting one, but it also might be outdated soon. And then they did change Navy a lot, and I was even in the process of making a Navy tutorial a while ago, and then they changed Navy as I was about to release, and I was like, I can't release this. This is outdated by the time it's released, And I was like, I don't even want to try.
It looked like they had rebalanced it so that maybe the capitals got hit more. I'm not sure. It looked like a pretty lateral, but bad.
So they made it so that carriers do everything, and you just need enough capitals for your carriers not to die.
Yeah.
And they also made a funny change where outside of a battle, like no fighters, even in the battle, I believe, could even counter the naval bombers. So what you did is, like when the new DLC released, you just put carriers with naval bombers on because they couldn't get countered. But mods changed that at least. I'm not sure how the meta is now in vanilla because I haven't played vanilla, I think, in like a year. I like mods more because they're more consistent with the content. Like, so they think that capitals are too strong in vanilla. Okay, they change capitals. Now there's a new meta, right? But like in a mod, you can't just keep changing the core format of the mod. For example, their finest bro carriers have always been kind of strong, but they haven't been OP. You can't just do carriers. I mean, you could actually at one point, but they patched that. So at least the mods are consistent with everything is helping somewhat, Whereas vanilla can be really like, you could just do tanks in 2018 basically, and then now you can't do anything without air. It's kind of like the opposite of how it was.
Because of the logi strikes?
Yeah, well, that too. Usually ban it in multiplayer because it's so OP. Like, you can kill 1,000 trucks with 100 planes. It's ridiculous in like a month, And then you have, say you have 5 mils on planes for CAS. Those 5 mils can kill 20 mils of motorized in a month. So the IC trade is just insane there, right? So in mods, at least, they try to balance the IC exchanges on the map.
Well, going back to what you said about like the tutorials and guides that, are outdated, what I think that you'd have a lot of authority in that area, obviously, but I've tried to do multiplayer guides and it outdates immediately. And then Peter told me the other day, Ario, the lead game designer, there's 20% of the player base that's for multiplayer. So your audience is 1/5 of what your normal audience would be. And that's tough for a content creator, as I know, to like, I'm going to publish this content and get 1/5 the views. Like, it's kind of rough.
I mean, if you look at, for example, say Tommy plays single player, I don't get 1/5 the views. I get more. I get almost the same views. Why is that? It's because, for example, my viewers want to watch me play multiplayer, usually. Or at hard challenge. I could even play the 1945 NC, right? It's just about, they want to see me do something hard, usually. or something painful. I don't know. But for Tommy, I don't know what his thing is anymore. Like I know what my viewers want, and I will keep delivering on that. I don't think, if you think about Tommy, he's a single player guy, right? He's the multiplayer guy, but he doesn't play multiplayer.
I would say he's like a caster for multiplayer and a single player streamer.
Yeah. But like I at least try to give my viewers what I know they want. I know Tommy knows they want multiplayer, or at least they used to want it way more. It used to be like Tommy couldn't release a single player video or he wouldn't get any views. Like if he re-released a single player video, it got way less views. But now it's the opposite kind of, because people like watching him do all of these mods and stuff. It's more interesting, right? But the HOI4 viewer base, it's so, say 20% of people who play HOI4 is in multiplayer. All of them will kind of want to watch my multiplayer video. But let's say the rest of the 80% that are in single player. Will they all want to watch a World Ablaze video? No, they will not. Just because they're so divided in what they actually like. Some people like Road to 56 and they only play that. They don't like other mods. Some people like historical games, then they can also watch a multiplayer game, even though they don't play multiplayer. Like, I think the majority of my audience actually does not play multiplayer. Maybe they have tried it, maybe they want to try it, but I don't think the majority has even played it, because most people say, I haven't played MP, but I think I would be better than that guy, you know? And then I know, okay, this guy has never touched multiplayer, and he's still watching. Because multiplayer is kind of interesting. You talk to other people, you have strategy, you play versus other people, which is way harder than playing versus an AI. And people are like, oh, but there is this really hard AI in this mod. Okay, so you gave it 50% more stats out of nowhere. Yeah, that's no skill in that. Skill is being able to do stuff with what you have, not getting given stuff, you know?
Dynamically back and forth. Yeah, I was just talking about the guided content on YouTube, but I think people tune into your streams for the show. They want to see you interact with other people playing this game cooperatively together. And they know that you're going to come with the show and have something new for them, something interesting. There's going to be a fight that breaks out, like nothing serious, but some wacko is going to do something crazy, and you know, you're going to have to like get the team cohesion back together. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, you're the only streamer on Twitch, not to diminish any other streamer, but for me personally, I can watch your long form content in terms of your multiplayer, because I know that it's going to be the peak of what I could get from a multiplayer show, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how do you curate that show? And then after that, could you talk about the mods that you're playing?
How do I curate the show? I don't know what that means exactly.
Well, like, how do you get together people? Like, you go on the multiplayer servers and then you get people together. Do you vet them before you play? Do you are you kicking kids out because they have like 100 hours or something?
I mean, usually I never host my own. I have a server for hosting my own games, and that is like it's like what, 140 people where I have hosted like 5 times in the last 2 months. You know, like it's not much. I usually play games in other servers, like the Discard Pixel server and stuff, or say there's a competitive TFB server and like a community. I can join that sometimes. I know this server hosts on Wednesdays, this one hosts on Saturdays, stuff like that. Then I usually join those games, and I'm not usually in charge of vetting people, because I know that it's not time efficient for me to make my own games, because there's a lot of work as a host, and I respect that. I was a host for like a year straight before I started streaming, but it was way too much work to first have to get like 20 to 30 people together, then stream, and then make a video out of it. It's just too much work. That's like a 16-hour work day almost. Like it's legit, because games could last 8 hours. Then there's the streaming part that you're constantly talking, and yeah, I don't know. It's like you just getting the people together. You don't know if you're going to be able to. So you have to constantly be asking people throughout the day. Okay, yeah, this guy exists. I can ask him if he can play that. Otherwise, we'll have a shit player on that, and then the game will be shit. So it actually takes a lot of hours to get a good game together. But I stopped trying that, and I kind of just settle for. People call me people say like, oh, you just play noob game. No, I'm playing a game in which I just joined because I don't want to host my own game because it takes so fucking long.
Well, like you're gonna have noobs in every game. In my experience, I was hosting on my own Discord channel, and I stopped for the same reason. It's like impossible to get it all organized, have a stream, and get a quality gameplay. Like you said, you kind of have to put your trust in other people that they're going to set the game up properly, and just sometimes it's not going to be set up properly. Like,
yeah.
So I'm definitely with you there. What about what mod are you playing and why?
I would say definitely their finest bra, TFB. So it's a mod that is kind of based off of the Total War mod. It used to be, at least, and then it's gone away from that. But that's kind of the base of the mod, I would say. And Total War is bad for multiplayer. TFB is generally bad for a competitive multiplayer game because it's not balanced. If I put myself, I would say this, if I put myself on all the nations, allies will always win. Because if everybody does everything correctly on allies, allies will always win. There's no chance the Axis wins. There's just no physical way. But then you have noobs, and as Axis, you can win. If anybody even makes a minor mistake, sometimes you can win just off of that minor mistake. So that's why when my team does minor mistakes, I know could lead to the game ending, I scream about stuff. People are like, oh, but he just lost a couple of ships. Okay, now the Italian ships are veterans, and they can now beat the UK fleet, and now we don't have control of the Mediterranean anymore. That can lead to us losing Africa, which can lead to them being able to have a more D-Day wall. They can kill Russia in time before we can get an actual big D-Day going, because the D-Day wall is so much bigger now. Like, people don't see the butterfly effect of things, I think. Because playing HOI4 for like almost 8,000 hours, I think I have a good idea of what's going to be the butterfly effect of a thing happening. But then you got to hope for the enemy player to not use that advantage. Like, say Italy beats the French fleet in the Central Med, because it's a shit fleet and the French player just had it out there. Now the Italian fleet is veterans, aka it has also the admiral got higher, and then it actually has the stats to beat the UK fleet. But then you're lucky because the Italian player, he's so inactive. He doesn't do anything with the fleet. Like, he just sits in port, and he doesn't take advantage of getting shore bombardment, taking all the islands, etc. in time. That is the only way, at that point, that the butterfly effect doesn't matter. It's if they don't use it. So when I see an advantage, I try to seize it, right? Let's say I kill 8 tanks of Russia in the south. I know that pushing in the north will be easier, or not, but because if they lost 8 in the south, they're gonna be like, okay, north is the least important. It's where they haven't pushed the most. Then I can put 8 tanks away from there and it'll be fine, right? No, then we push in north while we keep pushing in the south, and then, stuff like that is important. And then your teammates are like, no, or something. You need to see the bigger picture.
No, absolutely. And I take examples from, what you're doing, and I try to insert them in my videos. Like, look, we're playing this tournament. He is looking at what the enemy is doing and then switching his play style. You have to act dynamically. You cannot sit there and decide, I am only going to do this, and never look at the enemy countries. If other situation arises, like, you have to adjust. So my guess is that you play competitive sports.
Oh, yeah, I played football.
Okay.
I mean, football is kind of competitive. I mean, you need to score a goal. You don't want to let the enemy team score a goal, kind of. If you make a wrong pass, it's the butterfly effect again. They take the ball, they, counter. I play actual football, not your American counterpart.
Yeah, well, there's benefits to both. Like, I feel like American football is chess. You set up, you stop, you make a play, and then there's an interaction like we're talking about. I choose a play. The defense sees what I'm doing. They counter. I counter. They counter. And
I feel like you just get brain injuries. Like, there was one guy in my class who played American football. He had a brain injury. That's that's it. He came back to school with like this bandage around his head. I was like, what happened? He was like, well, I played American football this weekend. I was
in
like,
Sweden?
Yeah, there's a couple of teams. They're not the greatest, I think, compared to the U.S. counterparts, because you guys got money for it. But yeah.
I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, you're going to get head injuries. They're trying to like train around it, but it's a mess. I would.
Like in football, you just get a bad knee or something. That's it, kind
Well,
of,
they do
most of the time.
when you're going up for a header and guys hit heads. There is CT in football as well, but it's not obviously nowhere near. But back on the topic of so who develops your mod? Like, how do you guys keep it fresh with all the DLCs?
So there's like the TFB main mod is developed by a guy called Packer right now. It was developed by that guy from college, and before that it was developed by Choking. So what happens is that they make a mod for their server, like the Bokon server, and then they play in that mod, and then it was kind of just their mod for like 2 years or something. And then I was like, hey, we should play this outside of the Bokun server, because I was playing with the Bokun guys. So I was like, this is a really fun mod, guys. We should try this. Like, in a competitive sense, because the Bokun games are not competitive. I don't know who has that idea. They are just not competitive. There's nothing competitive about Golding doing a naval Germany and then putting it all on a shit ship. There's nothing competitive about that. There's just throwing IC in a black hole, you know? And then people are like, oh man, these Bokon games, they're really competitive. I was like, no, but Bo even says they're not, because they're not. Like, they're just fun games. And that's what I play them as. People are like, oh, you try hard in the Bokon games. I really don't. They have not seen me play try hard. If they think I try hard in Bokon games, there's very few points if I try hard in a Bokon game. And it's only because if we're in a huge disadvantage, then I can try hard. Because then I know, like, I need to save my team a little longer, and they usually don't complain if I'm the one saving my team from imminent death, you know?
You've gotten in trouble for that before, right?
I have. So I no tryharding from my part, unless it's like, because if I'm the only one tryharding, that's kind of unfair, right? Like, if everybody's chilling and just having a laugh, and then they see me snake to Moscow with like 8 tanks, that's kind of like destroying the mood of the game. It's like a different type of game. In a competitive game, that would be fine, but obviously these are not competitive games, so I gotta chill a bit, which I've learned to do. People are still like, oh, you're tryharding. Why? Because I have a good division? I'm not using it to its full potential. That would be tryharding. I'm literally holding back myself. Then I'm not tryharding, right? Like I played Finland, I think last Bokon game or something, and I killed the majority of all the Russians on Barb as Finland, and they were like, "Oh, Dankus is tryharding again." I was like, "Nope, I'm literally not. You're just not microing against me." While I'm just walking really slowly, really, around you guys, and just, I don't feel like, if the enemy is not microing, I don't feel like you're try-harding for encircling them. I just don't. And then I got still called a try-hard by some of the people, but I really wasn't.
So, like, it's really interesting. Like, I'm a competitive guy. I played a lot of different sports, and just love watching sports and stuff. So to me, when you're like esports, like, that type of thing, that's what I'm into. So I guess that's why I prefer watching a more competitive stream than just like, hey, we're going to chill. But what is your sense of the community? Like, what type of thing are people? Obviously, they don't want to. My guess would be the majority of the community does not want to play competitively. But what do people want to watch is my question.
I think I am a competitive person, of course. You can ask Leonard, the guy I play with. I cannot take anything unseriously. Say we play a game of Counter-Strike. Like, either I want to throw because I hate a teammate. That's intentional throwing, but everybody knows that. Or I just try hard. And Leonard says, just run in, you know? And I'm like, no, I'm going to take this tactical angle and slowly peek it and jiggle peek it. And I don't know. I just feel like I take stuff too seriously. Like, it's a video game. I played video games with my girlfriend the other day. We played the Forest game where you survive in the wild versus cannibals, essentially. There's a storyline, but we just survive against the cannibals. So we got captured by the cannibals. I had a choice between making it out alive with my backpack or saving my girlfriend. I made it out with the backpack. And she got really mad at me. But I was too competitive there. I needed my stuff in the backpack. So I chose my backpack. And that's against my girlfriend. And I feel like I have issues when it comes to that. I need to be able to just, okay, I might die, I'll save her instead, and I might be worse off in the game, but I'll save her instead. You know, like I have that competitive sense that it's probably boring to play with me if you're not also playing for the competitiveness of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I ran into that with, my hosting my games, that guys wanted to do their own thing and just, I'm just here to have fun. And I'm like, no, we got to win. Like, let's go.
Yeah, but people are like, Dankus, you can take this loss. Just lose, man. Why people people say that I can't have fun if I'm not winning. I can have fun if I'm not winning. That is not true. So I have fun if I win and I have a good game. There's a huge difference. I have plenty. I obviously have most wins on my channel. But if I have a good loss, I will say, like, put that at the top. I want you to edit that video first. I want that out first. Like, have editors, right? Because I like those games the most. When you lose, but you still do really, really good in a way that you can be so happy with yourself that you won the game for yourself, right? If I feel like I did everything I could and I did something out of it, then it's a good game still. But people are like, oh, but it's just a loss, man. But if I lose and I haven't been able to do anything about it because of other people, then I'm like, yeah, but the game still sucked. Not just as in a loss, but I didn't get to do anything. I like to be able to do stuff. And win games is, well, you usually do something when you win a game. I don't just sit there. If I win a game, I usually never just sit there. I always do stuff. So it's because I always do stuff and it pays off. Say one of the Bulgaria games I played in a Bokon game, I killed 6 million Russians or something.
6 million.
I literally I did everything I could. I out of like the 9 million, I killed 6 million. It's insane. And
with your own tanks, or you take Germany's?
I did mechanized. I did my own mechanized units. And I did everything. Germany microed really badly, but I used it to my advantage. He was the bait. I go in, I killed them. Then I'm having a good game. And it's also fun to see how badly people are playing while I'm doing so good. Because I show how easy it is to micro versus these guys. And then you still see them losing super badly, you know? So that I do find fun. But I don't know, just me do. I feel like I did a bad game. I just probably be like, fuck it, don't upload that. Like I want to show me doing my best. If I had a bad day, I'm toxic in VC, and then I also play badly, then I'm like, why would I upload that? There's nothing good about that to upload. There's no fun VC. I'm just there screaming, you know. And then we lose. I don't do anything. There's just, why would I make a video out of that? People won't enjoy watching that, and people are like, you don't upload your losses. Yeah, I do. The losses that are fun and good.
The overt negativity is not fun to watch. Like, just like you got a
guy
I know. Like doing all this crazy stuff, and you're just
usually
yelling
the
at
negative
him.
Nancy, but I'll take being the negative Nancy if it means the team shapens up. You know, like sometimes you need to be the negative Nancy for people to grab themselves by the fucking, shirt, whatever you say in English.
Pull themselves up by their bootstraps.
Exactly.
That's what we would say in America.
That's a southern saying, it sounds like, yeah.
No, it's all, well, it probably originated there, but everyone uses that one. What I'd like to know is, like, are you still having problems once you're in game, having like Romania do what you want them to, or are people still?
Oh yeah, of course.
Really?
Like sometimes it's people trolling me. Like there recently was this $10 bounty for if somebody throws to the point where I lose the game, they get $10.
What?
Yeah. They got $10 if they threw the game, which is kind of crazy to me. But it was a thing.
How did you figure that out?
Because I saw the bounty and people are like, "Oh, give me my $10," in all chat, Yeah. I don't know if it was just a meme, but people were intentionally throwing. I don't know if anybody got paid anything, but people were intentionally throwing games for like 2 weeks straight, very recently, to the point where I wouldn't get a video out of it because say the allies are like playing, and I'm Russia, and the allies are all playing. Like, literally, you can see France, no divisions on the border. Okay, maybe he has them behind. Nope, just no divisions. Say the UK. Oh, he gets sea lioned. Yeah, okay, so where's his navy? It's in Asia in 40. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. Like stuff like that. It just I don't know. And then people are like, give me the $10, and that's when I'm like, okay, are they intentionally throwing, or are they just memeing because they lost and now they just want to meme? I don't know. But it was like I was like paranoid about people throwing on purpose.
It's like sports betting or something when you're one of the
Yeah,
athletes.
honestly, yeah.
Oh my goodness, dude. Well, I guess you should take that as a compliment somewhat. I mean, definitely don't do that. That is ridiculous. It's just stupid. But it's like these are, competitive games for bragging rights. They're not like if you go there, you're gonna like destroy something and like have some massive effect on HOI4. I have a crazy theory. I'm an Axis player. Like I don't have a lot of time. So basically my content is very concentrated because I'm not going to play 1,000 countries and learn them all.
Yeah.
How do you get around the fact playing as an Axis player that if you were to give everything to Germany, in my opinion, this is my theory, that would be the most optimal thing to do because Germany could then, if you needed help with micro, give your tanks away and still get Rommel bonuses, Halder bonuses. Like, do you exploit that yourself? I'm sure you do, but like, how far do you take it?
Oh, I take it very far. So Civ boosting is usually banned in multiplayer, at least in competitive multiplayer. So back in the day in vanilla, there was this strat that I came up with. I'm a proud Civ booster. And as in, I'm the one getting Civ boosted. So I came up with a strategy where you make everybody build capital ships. Now, what is the thing about capital ships? It's that you can license them from Germany, which is 1 or 2 civs. Then they have to import the 2 different resources that are very costly for those ships. Oh, look, I have 80 civs as Germany day 1 in vanilla? Crazy! And 15 of them are from Bulgaria? Even more crazy! I don't know how that happened, but he definitely needs all those resources, because theoretically, if he makes everything licensed produced by me, yeah, he needs all of them. So I have taken making it, like all the IC come from one nation very hard, but that's also what's important about cohesion in a team. It's that you want to play as one nation. If Germany has the 15 mils on Bulgaria, when Bulgaria's task is doing a D-Day wall, then those are still going to go to the D-Day wall, those 15 mils. And in multiplayer, if your Bulgaria doesn't do a D-Day wall, then you have to devote 15 of your mils to the D-Day wall, for example, right? Which is kind of what's important, that everybody does their task. Otherwise, it's like you have to pull your mills away from something, and now you're going to be worse off in that area. Say Barb, you're 15 mils less on tanks, 15 mils less on air, stuff like that. It's huge that everybody does their part that they're meant to do. If you agreed on something like pre-game, like, oh, Bulgaria, this time I'm Bulgaria, I'm going to go on Barb instead. Then, okay, I have to devote less mills to Barb, I have to devote more to D-Day. Then I'll pre-plan that in my head. But if it comes as a shock, like, okay, Bulgaria doesn't have anything out, and he won't. I get to know that in 40, 41. It's too late. You just have a worse Barb and a worse D-Day wall at the same time.
Does TFB auto-manage the economy before, so you can't civ boost before war, or do you just police that yourself?
You can civ boost, but in Balkan games, for example, and in competitive games, civ boosting is banned. So they don't want it to be like civ boosting in competitive. They don't want that because it's kind of good. Because, for example, you civ boost Germany. Germany has better modifiers. Germany will do more with those civs that you're giving it. So essentially, you're just giving your team more factories, essentially, by giving Germany factories. The same amount of factories you would have had in your nation, Germany does more with them. But in Balkan games, it's more about that if you're playing Bulgaria, you should do your own thing on Bulgaria. It's not about Germany only having a game. Whereas in competitive, it might be better to do that. Yeah, not right now in competitive, but I'm talking like back in the day in vanilla, at least, it was the best thing to do. But yeah, I mean, there's different aspects to it all. But if you know your Bulgaria player is going to be a worse player, in a Balkan game, that might be fine. In a competitive game, you're going to say, give me your civs. because I will do stuff with them to save the game from you being a worse player. You don't actually say that, you word it nicely. But it's essentially that instead of us having less factories and less micro and everything, we just have less micro because you're giving me your economy, essentially.
Well, so I asked the lead game developer, because this is my gripe. You say it's banned. People flicker civs, and I haven't played a game without civ boosting. How do I know that? Because people on my team are civ boosting, and I'm asking them not to cheat, and they're still cheating. So what I asked Peter was, can you develop an option that balances the economies before war? And I know a lot of players hate this.
Yeah.
But would you think that's a benefit, or?
What do you mean by balances the economy?
So if you play the historical multiplayer mod, or maybe L Wolf doesn't have that feature. Basically, you can set it up so that the economy, the trade, does not change. Like, you cannot do anything with it. It's AI driven, I guess.
Okay.
Or actually, it might be just that there's no civs given from trade.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure.
That's also a good change. Yeah.
Well, if
I guess could be.
I'm gonna. That's my only ask from the development team, but I don't think he's gonna do it. But next time I talk to him, I'll see what he says.
Yeah, I think it should still cost a civ. Like, theoretically, it's a good thing because resources should give you an advantage other than you having resources. You should get paid for those resources in terms of civs. But one bad thing is that because of some nations not being worth having those civs on, you might want to give away your civs, right? That's the issue. I think their core issue is that some mods fix, like LW, for example. LW is a competitive mod that is very reliant on air and everybody has good stuff on their nation. It's not more worth to give your economy to another nation, for example, right? Like, theoretically, you can do more with your stuff on your nation because it gives you generals that are good. It gives you get everything you need to make something out of your economy. That way, you're not tempted to give your economy away to somebody who has a better stats or something. Like everybody has the same, which is kind of a good thing. That I think is a good fix for it, but in like vanilla, you can't really you can't make everybody have the same thing. For a competitive sense, though, I think it's better that everybody has the same in a way. I don't know.
What about the update on a different note, what about the update to the air wing size? Has that affected your gameplay much?
You mean that it's only 100 now?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it has affected multiplayer as a whole. So the meta as Italy before the DLC was that you would put like 2 1,000 bomber stacks, naval bombers, in the central mid.
Yeah.
You had 2 stacks of 1,000 naval bombers. And how it works is that the bigger the stack of bombers, the more damage they do. That's funny, right? Because then you can one-shot... Yeah, you could one-shot capital ships and stuff. It wasn't worth for the UK to lose its navy in the med versus naval bombers. So you didn't. But now that bombers are 100 stacks, they do smaller but more chips of damage. But it's still less damage in total. So now the meta in multiplayer is kind of this UK goes and raids now, and there's not really a thing that stands against that, UK just starts with a bigger fleet and it can just go raid. So I don't know how mods fix that. I guess they could make naval bombers more OP. I'm not sure. But yeah, they really have become worse by far. So like that's a huge gameplay changer. You can't win Africa anymore in vanilla kind of changer.
So that's just by the air wing size. You don't think that it's because they rebalance the naval speed? Have you seen any changes in the naval meta?
Since I don't play vanilla, I can't say I know much of the vanilla meta naval wise. I know it was just carriers for a while that you needed good carriers with naval bombers, and then just I remember there was also a screen meta where you just did screens and naval bombers, like on carriers.
CLs.
I'm not sure how it all developed, but that was last time I checked.
In my testing, it's I'm gonna go with balanced navy. Obviously, I don't know it for absolute sure, but it seems like you need battleships to protect your carriers.
Yep.
And then stacking soft attack on CLs, you're not going to penetrate the battleships as much anymore. But you could completely ruin any navy you went against circa like 3 months ago if you just built CLs and maxed out soft attack. In the mods that you play with, what is the stat you go with? Do you go with torpedoes, hard attack, or soft attack?
Visibility.
Really?
Yeah. If they can't hit you, you don't have to care about it, you know? There was recently, actually currently in TFB, if you make destroyers on the United States with the visibility designer, you have Berkey who has negative visibility for destroyers, etc. You can make invisible destroyers, which is really funny. They can only be killed with naval bombers, and since naval bombers are so much weaker now, it's essentially unwinnable for Japan to win Navy in their finest bra if USA does everything properly. So some mods have started to nerf visibility, which didn't really work out. A mod has just what's called nerfed visibility, and I played. I think it was my last stream when I played the US-Russia cap, though, sadly. But I killed Japan. And I had a destroyer-only fleet. I had 400 destroyers that couldn't be hit, essentially. So they killed the entire Japanese fleet, which had 120 dockyards on capital ships. Because, yeah, if you have destroyers that can't be hit, that have torpedoes and light attack, the light attack kills their screen, then the torpedoes get through and kill their capitals. His entire navy was dead in 2 battles. Yeah, it was funny.
You made that guy unload the game.
There's actually... mean. At a certain point of visibility, you go below the amount needed in visibility to get hit. Okay, which is really funny. Then that's a thing.
Could Japan have built radar to see you again? Is there a way he could counter that?
No.
Really?
No.
The values get down to a point to where they're absolutes, huh? They're binary. They're ones and zeros, huh?
I mean, they get down to a point where you're not supposed to have the low visibility.
So, last question.
Mm-hmm.
What new content are you coming out with? And I'll make it, or how can people, I guess, how can people prepare to play with you or play in one of your games? I mean, I don't want like 1,000 people to come and try to like contact you and play with you, but yeah, what's next for Dankus, and like how can we help you in your multiplayer streams, I guess?
Next for Dankus is some exciting stuff. I don't think I can talk about any of it. But it's tournament related. 2 tournaments that I cannot talk about yet. But yeah, 2 tournaments are coming up. Both are gonna be open to the public. I think I'm gonna compete in one and cast in another. That's, I think, what I can say. But it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be well-made tournaments, and yeah, it's gonna be fun to play.
Can you tell us the dev team is at Speed 5?
For one of them?
Okay. Why did you go incognito for the last tournament?
Incognito. I thought it would be fun. First of all, like for example, if they know, I explained it in the video shortly. If they know it's me, they're gonna be kind of more scared, and I think that's unfair because I really am overrated in a sense that only because it's me, it doesn't mean I'm gonna win. I know that. I think most people know that, but not everybody knows that. And in the competitive scene, people who are like new to competitive, if they see I'm up against Dankus, the guy I've been watching since 2019, and he wins everything on his YouTube, then they're gonna be scared. So I didn't want to give that mental advantage because who you're playing against matters a lot. If they're playing against Blowmaster, they're not going to have that in the back of their mind because when you're playing a 1v1, you need all your focus on the game, not who you're playing against, not anything like that. I played plenty of 1v1s, tournaments too, and I know what it is playing against somebody like, okay, I know this guy's really good, you know? It's a different mentality that you go in with then.
I just thought of something, but like in real life, say take football, like you know
Mhm.
how another team plays.
Mhm.
So I guess you do confer an advantage for yourself that way too. Do you think that there will ever be esports in Hearts of Iron 4, like where we're playing live in like a tournament arena setting?
Actually was kind of I don't know if you watched the last Speed 5 event, the actual Speed 5 event, not the feedback event that I was in.
I only watch feedback.
Oh wow, okay. So I actually lost to Zemops in the semifinals. And it was on a stage with production studio, everything. I lost. I was super sad. I won on his map pick. I won. And yes, there are different maps in that mod. So I won on his map pick. And then I was like, okay, I want to try this new map out. I think I have the skill to win it. Turns out he had played that map a lot. At least he seemed very prepped. I had no idea what he was going to do. So I got rolled. And then it was like, okay, so now it's 1-1. And then the last map was random. And the sides were random. So we got to the Asia map, which only Navy matters, essentially. And who you're playing matters the most. Allies win. Axis loses. I got Axis. So why I thought, okay, at least I'd played the map once. And I got told by everybody who had played it that it's impossible to win as the Axis. Allies get to the victory points first, therefore they win. Because there's no way you retake a victory point in that mod if the enemy players plays it correctly. And I'm up against Zilops, he knows how to play correctly once he has taken a victory point. That's one thing. So I was like, okay, I'm Axis. I am not gonna make it first to the victory point. The way you get there first as the Allies is that you just pair drop. You have the ability to pair drop day one and get there first. Axis does not. And I was like, okay, so I basically lost this. I'm still gonna try, but I basically lost this already. Turns out he doesn't pair drop. Turns out I would have won if I pair dropped. Stuff you don't know, like, okay, say I wouldn't have known beforehand that everybody said that. I would have pair dropped and gotten there first. But from the knowledge people gave me before the game, I already thought it was over. I'd already given up, which is a bad thing. Yeah, people is like, oh, it's over for you. It's over if you get access on that map, you know. So pre-existing knowledge isn't something you should rely on because now he didn't pair drop, and I would have won the game. So and then maybe I would have won the tournament. It would have made it for a great video. But hey, sucks.
I've seen you back in the day. I've seen you like lose tanks on Barb and just stick with it, and then like it's like an 8 hour
I know,
game.
because that's when I know I can recover. Anybody else's opinion doesn't matter. But in the mod, which I've never played that map on, and then I'm to play in a semifinal last map, and all the info I'm given is that you lose. On that side, you lose because the enemy gets there first. You gotta find another way to do it. Well, he didn't get there first. If I would have pair dropped, so I got the wrong information. I mean, I got the right information, but it wasn't good information because I would have gotten there first. Like I said,
you can't get psyched out in your head.
Yeah.
You got to just try your best.
Like I said, if I wouldn't have had that information beforehand, I would have pair dropped, and then it would have been a different outcome. But GG to Zemops, man. He played really well on the second map. The third map, I can't say either of us played great because nobody knows how to play that map. It's just getting there first, converting. But the second map, he really played well. He took advantage of the fact that he got a heavy tank from his focus tree, and he used it really well. And also, he wasn't covering his entire front, which I didn't know. There's a part of the front where it's like Faga Wari. There's a third nation that is an AI that is just there. And I had my troops on that border too. He had more IC on the main front than me. And he took advantage of that to the point where when I minimalized my front line to just being on the actual front, he could just steamroll me because he had already killed enough.
You're talking about the Rhine across
the Rhine map. Yep.
This one?
People never put divisions in the south because both you're consuming guns by occupying, and also you not only consume guns while occupying, you have units there, which is not necessary because it's not good to push there. So I didn't know that before the game. He knew that. But yeah, sad. What can I say?
Where were you guys streaming? Like, this is my problem is like, where do you know that these events are going to happen? Because I actually try to look for this stuff. And if I can't find it, like, how is anyone else going to find it? You know?
Yeah, so they didn't do much marketing for it at all. Like, I think the event, the production of it is the best that there's ever been in HOI4. Although they didn't do any marketing for it. So people were like, what? There was an event? You know, people still don't know that there was an event because there was no marketing.
What website can I bring it up here real quick? Like
Twitch. Although you need to be a subscriber to watch any of the VODs.
So all you had to say was Twitch because like there's no like, in my experience, like you said, you have to be a subscriber and then you might get a notification. But if they went on YouTube, YouTube would pick that up and start sending that out to everyone. I feel
they actually are on YouTube, although they don't have that many subs or anything. It's like, I don't know. They're not doing the YouTube properly out of a YouTuber sense. I know that it's gonna be hard to find because of how they're wording everything, and I wouldn't even know it was HOI4. Like one of their titles was like Speed 5 Commanders in Commanders in Conflict. I think it is. Yeah, the name of the event. Speed 5 Commanders in Conflict. Dankus Memecus versus Emops or something. And then you can maybe find it, right? But I don't think if you say HOI4 tournament that it will ever come up, because there are many other HOI4 tournaments, but they haven't even named their one HOI4 tournament or anything in the title, and therefore, it's going to be pushed way down below everything else, and
I think
it's hard to find.
Titling it HOI4 tournament instead of Speed 5, which people aren't aware of.
It's their company, so it's kind of why they name it that. Although it's like I said, out of a YouTuber perspective, it's not going to do well unless people already know about it. Then it might have been fine, but people don't know about it, so. While not doing marketing on other channels, say they paid me or Bo to do marketing for the event, then in my video, that people would go over there, they would follow, they would subscribe, and then they would have more viewers for these events. I feel like the marketing part is probably the biggest because, like I said, the production is unprecedented. They did have 1,600 viewers on Twitch, I think, as their height count. But again, I've gotten that in a normal live stream.
Yeah.
That's the problem. They have studio production. They need to get the word out there because people will watch if they know about it, but they don't know about it, you know? People will just not randomly start knowing about it. That's not really how the internet works.
If you just DM me the information, I would be glad to put videos out as announcements. I'm not a big YouTuber, obviously, but like if 1,000 people saw it and you got like 100 extra viewers, I think that's valuable because that's something you could build off of instead of nothing, you know?
Yeah, it's not it's not my company. They're a separate company. Like they're not even Paradox. They're just a separate company, but they do all the strategy games from Paradox.
Peter told me that it was ex-Paradox devs.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to play in your games, I'm just talking in general, not about myself. What do I have to do to come to bring it for a Dankus game?
Well, a Dankus game, it's never a Dankus game. It's always just me joining a game somewhere. Like I never even care about the teams. Like I just join. I, for example, join as Russia, and then my team will be as it is. If they suck and I have to carry on Russia, or I die on Russia because they're so bad, then that may be it. You know, like I really just join random games. People always ask, where do you play your games? These 50 different servers. Join if you can. I don't know. Like, I really don't know because I always switch servers. It's always a new one, kind of. It's not a Dankus game, and I definitely won't announce anywhere. Oh, hey guys, I'm playing here now. I was literally DDoSed for 6 months straight, so I just don't want to. And hackers were constantly joining lobbies, and at that point, I can't announce where I'm playing and stuff. If they're already there, I can't stop them. The hackers, the DDoSers, everything, right? But at least I'm helping by not announcing everything, giving them a free target, you know, because people do target me. So yeah.
No, absolutely. That makes sense. But I'm also blown away that, you're kind of out there looking for games too, and that there's not really a set piece game. Wow, that's really crazy. But I have to put it to you. You bring the show, and definitely I feel like you're at the top of your game in terms of Hearts of Iron 4, in terms of your content, particularly on YouTube, because it's so much more accessible to me. Whereas on Twitch, I got to catch you if I'm just happen to be there. I'm always on YouTube, so I see your stuff. So I could just and watch the videos after the fact.
Twitch is very random. For example, today is a good example. There might be a Bocon game I can join in 1 hour. I don't know. So I can't really announce I have a stream, Like, I can't announce it, and no, you can't join the game. Okay. No stream. Like, that would suck. So I usually never announce when I'm streaming because the game died in the lobby. Sad, no stream today. I just don't want to give false hope because that's bad. I'm gonna devote 6 hours of my life to watching this guy now. Oh, the game died. Thank you, Dankus. I just canceled my plans for I don't know, going out for a meal or something. I just don't want to. I feel like people just pop in, and if they have the chance, I don't really announce my streams at all. Unless I'm doing an event, like, there's a tournament this Friday, then I will definitely announce that, because then that's a set time and it's gonna happen. So yeah, only announce stuff I know will be happening.
No, that absolutely makes sense. And go ahead, guys, and check out Dankus on Twitch. And also, he makes great videos on YouTube you could check out here. And make sure that you subscribe and turn on bell notifications to get all of his latest content on YouTube. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with, Dankus, is I feel like it would be optimal if we just had YouTube. If there was a single platform. YouTube is not built for live streaming right now, though, so it is what it is.
It's getting better. It's getting better. If I talk payment-wise, I think YouTube is getting there, but it's still not great, but it's getting there. It's just about the payment-wise. I think the YouTube is worse, and also like the streaming in general, it's better on Twitch. For example, a YouTube viewer isn't necessarily gonna watch a live stream. A Twitch viewer already watches live streams. They're gonna watch a live stream. So Twitch is the main platform for streaming, and that's where like I stream there. It's like people wanna watch a stream on Twitch, not on YouTube generally.
All my streams are watched as videos later. That's 80% of the viewership. They watch it as a video. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
But anyway, Dankus, keep on doing what you're doing. I love the content. And thanks for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, man. Have a good day.
Have a good day, man.